YouTube. What's new? I don't think you want to ask me that question at the moment because the bar exam just keeps on getting to a point where even the builders of that Titanic would be like, y'all need to slow down. I'll get into it, but what's actually new with me, well, I'm learning that constitutional law is just not my thing. I mean, when I do Themis, I can guess the answers and get the same amount right that I would if I was actually reading the questions. So that's fun. So yeah, that's what's going down with me. Also, Themis, on some of your worksheets, please put bigger spaces in. Doing the civil procedure stuff, and I'm like, I cannot fit, my handwriting does not fit in these spaces. Like, please, Themis, listen to me. Anyways, so that's what's new with me on like the studying front. What's new with me like in general? Not much. So let's get into the bar exam. So I made a Titanic reference. I want to say this. I love the movie Titanic. I love the Titanic. I went to the Titanic Museum when I went to camp in Missouri because there's a huge museum there. I love history. I love the Titanic, but like, I should not be able to equate the 2020 bar exam to the Titanic. That should not be a thing that is happening, and yet here we are. So this video is gonna briefly address the bar exam in other states, like the ones that I have noticed that are like having huge issues and stuff, and then it's going to mainly talk about Texas again because again, that's the jurisdiction, that's the state that I live in, and that's what's affecting me the most. And yeah, so I'm gonna be looking at my computer here just to make sure I don't miss things, which will inevitably happen. Like last time, if I miss something and I remember it, I'll either put it in a pinned comment or I will put links to stuff in the description box. So make sure you check that stuff out because it does have a lot of information that is really useful and pertinent to what's going on. So let's start with out-of-state stuff, so not Texas. Let's start with California. Y'all guys, are y'all okay over there? Like, I did they cancel it on y'all or what? Cause stuff is going on. Cause I feel like it's either California or New York where they canceled the bar exam the day after like withdrawal applications were allowed. So like, are y'all okay? And I know in New York they're like trying to move some legislation forward to try to get something done about the bar exam because doing it in person is just not feasible in any form of in person that you want to call it. And we'll get to that when I talk about Texas. When it comes, I think it's Illinois, is that right? Where they're also in a huge mess of still having to do it in person, right? And then I know North Carolina, they're still having to do it in person. And I know there was a claim from the North Carolina bar examiners that there's like no authority above them, not even the Supreme Court, which is super problematic. Like, are y'all okay in other states? I know I'm not okay in Texas, but like other states, are y'all doing okay? Like, they're canceling, but I can't even keep stuff straight. Like, they're canceling bar exams, they're moving bar exams around. Some states are already canceling the online exams that they had planned. Like, how long do y'all want us to wait to get this licensure? In my opinion, if they had just agreed to the temporary diploma privilege or apprenticeship option, this would have been solved. We could have been going to our jobs, because I know in New York for a fact people are being denied jobs and are getting their jobs taken away because of this delay in the bar exam. That's not fair. So yeah, stuff is happening all over the country with regards to the bar exam. So let's get into Texas. because that's the one I know the most about. That's the one I am most passionate about. No offense to you other states, but I am Texan. I'm taking the Texas bar. So, if you watched my last video, I'm going to do a quick recap. On early in July, like at the beginning of July, the Texas BLE held an open meeting where they took public comment. Most of the people said they wanted diploma privilege or apprenticeship. The deans from the law schools talked. I know 3. I want to say it's U of H, A&M, and SMU deans advocated. Like, those are the ones that were chosen out of the 10 Texas law school deans to talk. And we were pretty much ignored. The members were trying to advocate for an in-person exam as long as possible, and then they finally decided to recommend to the Supreme Court that there was going to be a September exam and an online October exam. So that's where that meeting ended, and then the Supreme Court gave out their ruling where, so the BLE said they weren't going to do they were only going to do the October online exam. That was the only feasible option. So the Supreme Court came out with their decision saying that they were going to do a September exam, an online October exam, and provisional licensure in the meantime, which isn't an option for a lot of people because that's still work that they have to do, and then they have to take off to study for the exams in September and October. But additionally, a lot of places don't want to hire on a provisional licensure thing because there's no guarantee that that's going to stick, you know? There's just too much going on there. So the Supreme Court came out and gave that ruling, basically told the Texas BLE that they had to create this. So that was on July 3rd. On July 16th, the BLE had another meeting, and it was open to the public. Granted, we only got 15 to, not even 20, but maybe 15 people in the public comment section, which was moved to the end so they could cut it off as fast as possible. I mean, at least we got more than California, because apparently their public comment section was cut off after like 4 people, which is kind of abysmal. Like, the BLEs, their motivation is showing, and it's not looking good for them. So yeah, they moved the public comment section in Texas to the end so we could cut it off so they could leave, which didn't stop people from leaving anyways. So yeah. But, so they had this meeting, and they came up with this plan. And I'm going to quote the words that were used to describe this plan. It's pandemic proof. Just let that sink in. Pandemic proof. And they were congratulating themselves over this plan, and you know what this plan consisted of? That instead of using convention centers, which are all closing, they're going to use hotels, which aren't, and which are needy and desperate in this time of recession. And it just boggles my mind that they are so willing to utilize an industry in a time of recession to get gain for themselves. And but that's not even like the kicker. So this plan was written on July 15th, according to the person who presented it. And I'm going to avoid naming names because I do think that's kind of rude. But at the same time, you can watch it on YouTube. So if you really want to know who presented the plan, you can watch it on YouTube because it's there. It's on the Texas Courts YouTube channel. So this plan was presented as pandemic proof, and what it consists of, and this is the in-person exam. We're going to get to the online exam in a bit, but the in-person exam is going to be held at hotels, and it's not going to be in like a convention center hotel or in like the ballroom of a hotel. No, we're going to be in individual hotel rooms, and the doors are going to be open. So, but don't worry, there's going to be HVAC for every single room. I don't know how good HVAC, like individual room HVAC, will work when the doors are open. Not only that, But the hotel staff is going to move all, sorry about the lighting, guys, but the hotel staff is going to move all the furniture in the rooms to make it accessible for testing. I don't know about you, but the last hotels I've been in, the desk has been bolted to the wall. And it's like a fixture of the wall. So, yeah. But even better is we're gonna have to put all of our stuff, including our suitcase and toiletries and clothes, in the hallway while the exam is happening, even though this hotel room is where we're gonna be sleeping that same night. It's great. And the proctors are gonna be able to walk in and out of our rooms, and they're gonna be able to look at our rooms before the exam, which is only gonna add like 2 hours because it's one proctor for 12 rooms and they have to search the whole room. So that's promising. It just gets better, guys. And when asked what the name of the hotel would be, because we were assured it was going to be 5-star hotels in 4 cities, which included San Antonio, Houston. No, it included Dallas, Lubbock, Austin, and San Antonio. Either San Antonio or Houston. I think it's Houston, because San Antonio and Waco I've been seeing on Twitter have been like left out, because there's 6 to 7 places in Texas that usually are test centers. Like El Paso's one, and then Lubbock, because Texas is really big if you didn't know. So yeah, it's only gonna be in 4 cities, and we were assured it was gonna be 5-star hotels, and it was a chain, which I lived in Lubbock. I went to undergrad in Lubbock. If you don't know, I went to Texas Tech University for undergraduate, and there is only one hotel in that city that I would consider even remotely close to 5-star, and it's a very nice hotel. I will give them that, but it's not a chain. It's not part of any chain. It's part of the Texas Tech REM program, which is all the hotel management stuff. And I don't know about you, but when a hotel is run by a REM program, usually it's run by undergraduates. So the Texas BLE has no problem putting undergraduates from a state university at risk for the situation that's going on. That screams so many problems to me. And it's so frustrating because they're just turning a blind eye to this. And that's just in Lubbock. And the only reason I can say all this is because I went to school in Lubbock. I know what Lubbock is like. I know there's chains in Dallas and Austin, but there's not one in Lubbock that is 5-star that can accommodate everything that the BLE is wanting the hotel staff to do and everything else. And mind you, we're having to arrive the morning of the exam, which is mass entrance for everybody. So that's going to take forever because no hotel is equipped for that. And we have to leave right after the exam, unless it's on us to pay for extra days. Which at a 5-star hotel, I can barely afford a Motel 6. Which if you watch the Texas BLE thing, that's going to be really funny to you. But I can barely afford a Motel 6, let alone be able to afford an extra day, 2 extra days, basically, in a 5-star hotel. Because gotta love dogs. Because everybody's coming in at the same time. It's just, sorry about the dogs, guys. But that's just, mind-boggling to me. I don't understand how they think that this is gonna work, because it's not. And I will explain why it's not gonna work. And that we all remember when all of this whole situation began, there were cruise ships that were on lockdown for weeks because one person got it, right? That's what's gonna happen at these hotels. It just boggles my mind that they think that this is pandemic proof when we have seen time and time again that hotels and cruise ships and anything that is enclosed like this is just a hot spot for something to happen. Like it happened in China with a different issue, with a different situation, not the current one, but a different one. And all the cruise ships are essentially huge hotels. I just don't see how they can call this pandemic proof, especially when our doors are going to be open for upwards of 9 hours a day. It just doesn't make sense. And it's so frustrating that like the only people that I really see speaking out about this are people that are being affected by it. And the few attorneys that I'm seeing that are speaking out about it, there's not enough. Like, this isn't just a, you did it, I did it, so you have to, which is hazing, which, I'm going to say this, most of the legal profession was in a sorority or fraternity. And we all know, if you are in a fraternity or sorority, that hazing is like a huge no-no. And you can get kicked off campuses. Your fraternity or sorority can be shut down on campuses for years. Like, hazing is huge no in fraternity and sorority. Yet you go into a profession that you're okay with hazing happening. But this goes beyond like, I did it so you have to. This is in a time of national crisis because the cases keep on rising. And nothing, and it's like, we're fine, so you'll be fine too. But the thing is, they're not going to be in the middle of it. I mean, at the BLE meeting that happened on the 16th, one of the board members asked if they had to go to these testing sites, and they were said, no, you don't have to go. And I know that like in Facebook groups, some of the BLE members are advocating to wear masks and to not go out. Yet when they get onto these meetings, they're like, we have to have a bar exam. We have to have it in person. Like it's just absolutely mind-boggling that they are so dead set on having an exam. And we all know the reason why, and it's because of money. They want the money from it. So yeah, that's the general consensus of the situation that's going on with the Texas bar exam in September. They're so worried, like just reading their plan for it, they're so worried about us cheating that we can't have our stuff in our rooms. And I don't know about you, but I studied I've taken the bar exam before. I studied during my lunch breaks. I studied before the exam in the morning. I studied after the exam at night. I was always studying. I can't take my stuff into my room and study during lunch when it has to be outside of my room all the time. It's absolutely ridiculous. No 5-star hotel is going to offer comfort when I'm not even allowed to unpack because it has to be outside of my room both days of the exam. So, yeah. So they're calling this plan pandemic proof, which I think is utterly ridiculous. And honestly, when people like kept on bringing this point back up, the person who coined the term pandemic proof rolled her eyes and just wasn't happy with people coming up with problems with her pandemic proof plan, and shows a great lawyer right there. But the thing is, we're all taught in mock trial or any trial advocacy class, which you had to take to pass law school, that when you come up with a theme of a case, you have to be really careful that it can't be thrown back in your face. Like one of the famous themes for a case is from the O.J. Simpson case, which is if it doesn't fit, acquit, right? And that's a famous theme. People know it. People still say it to this day, and that's something that's gonna like stick in your mind, and it's gonna be kind of hard to flip back on the other person. When I did mock trial in law school, one of the main things that I had to consistently think about when doing openings and closings was, how's my theme gonna work out? Is my theme gonna be able to be played back on me? And luckily I had coaches and I had teammates, and we all came together and came to consensuses and helped each other come up with themes that couldn't be flipped on us. But when you coin a term pandemic proof, you are asking for it to be flipped back on you, because there's so many fallacies within that. Like, I'm sure the World Health Organization would love to know how this pandemic proof thing is going to work out. How the Texas BLE has created something that's pandemic proof when no one else has created something like that before. It just doesn't work. It's crazy that they are so insistent on having us meet in person. So, and this pandemic proof thing led to the whole Titanic situation. Because remember how I said that at the beginning of the video? Yeah, we're coming up to that now. Because remember, they coined the Titanic as unsinkable, and then it sank. So basically, with how the Texas bar exam and how with like a lot of in-person bar exams are going, and the bar exam in general, even the online one, which I will talk about in a second, how all of that's going right now, it seems like the BLE and NCBE are all the creators of the Titanic. The Titanic is the bar exam, right? And in Texas, at least, it's pandemic proof. It's unsinkable. We all know what happened to the Titanic. It sank. It hit an iceberg and it sank. And the thing is, the Titanic had notification that something was amiss, and they didn't really do anything about it. And that's the exact same thing that's happening here. And it's ridiculous. But at the same time, when you think that the stuff that happened on the Titanic can't be true, you know? When you're seeing it happen in front of your eyes, you're like, oh my gosh, these people are so crazy. And the worst part is, the people who are giving this exam, the BLE, they are literally the dude who grabs the little girl and like, this is my daughter, let me on the lifeboat. And leaving all of us to be the string quartet who has to play, you know? Or the third class passengers who are stuck on the boat. That is how we're feeling right now, is we don't have a choice. And the BLEs just won't see it, and Texas BLE just won't admit that they are wrong and that an exam just is not feasible. So, with that being said, let's move on to the online bar exam. So the online bar exam is going to be offered in October, and the stuff I've seen about this is absolutely terrifying. And I thought that the in-person bar exam was terrifying. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. So I thought the in-person bar exam was terrifying because I could die. But no, the online bar exam sounds mortifying to me, because you have to have your own place. You can't like a bedroom. I don't even know if this room would be good, because y'all heard my dogs. Like, my mom's office is just down the hall. Like, there is not a private place here. And they're saying that students can go to work and go to a conference room at work. I say students, I shouldn't be saying students, I should be saying JDs and graduates. But the thing is, with JDs getting their jobs revoked from them, I'm not sure they're gonna have a place to work anyways. And then they're like, oh, you can go to law school. You can go to your law school and get a room there. So let's do some math here. Let's say that your graduating class is 150 people, and all of those 150 people decided to take the October bar exam, and let's say that 50 of them could not find a place at home, so they have to go to the law school. I don't know about your law school, but our law school was pretty sizable. We had a lot of rooms, but not 50. We did not have 50 places for a student to take an exam in. That just does not exist on, I don't think, any law school campus, because I think most law schools are one building. I'm talking about my law school, which was more than one building. And the fact that they're like, oh, you can just go to law school. Well, in October, if schools are open, which we don't know if they're going to be yet, but if schools are open, they have to work around classes, which takes away most of the rooms that are available. But even if they aren't open, there are not that many rooms on law school campuses for a person to go and take the law school exam, the bar exam. And it's but not only that, the worst part is coming from the NCBE. And they're saying if you have to take the online bar exam and you need accommodations, you cannot take it at home. You have to go somewhere and take it in person. Which I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like an ADA violation. I mean, you're not offering an equal opportunity, and you're putting people with disabilities at an even greater risk. And these people probably already are in the high risk category. Or they're more likely to be in the high risk category than someone who's not already needing to, who doesn't already need accommodations, if that makes sense. And it's mind-boggling that the lack of empathy and the lack of care that these governing bodies are showing is crazy, all in order to keep an exam that is supposed to test the competency of lawyers. But time and time again, we see minorities and women are the ones that are typically given the short end of the stick when it comes to passing the bar exam. If you're a minority or a woman, you're less likely to pass than a white male. And that all stems from why the bar exam even exists, which is to stop minorities from getting into the profession of law. Like, if you look at Texas, at least, the bar exam came into place around the Jim Crow era. I don't need to elaborate any more on what that exactly means, because I think anybody with half a brain can understand that the bar exam is racist. Because it is. And what they're doing is they're just creating an even bigger gap. They're making it so less and less attorneys can be in because they only want the privileged white males to be in. That is what this is showing, because the bar exam is not testing competency, especially this year. The bar exam is testing privilege. And that is a quote from a law student in New York, I believe. And it's absolutely true. And I've taken the bar exam twice, guys, and it's hard. And I'm going to say this because people who are advocating for diploma privilege or apprenticeship are saying, who aren't advocating for diploma privilege and apprenticeship, are saying, just take the bar exam. Well, here's the thing. I'm not trying to get out of taking the bar exam. I'm trying to save my life. I've taken the bar exam twice. I wouldn't be doing this again if I was trying to get out of taking the bar exam. That's not what this is about. I'm trying not to get heated. If you want to see me really get heated, watch my Newsies video where I talk about Catherine Plummer, Pulitzer, whatever her name is, and how she shouldn't be in Newsies. Anyways, I'm trying to remain calm and collected as I finish up this video. But yeah, the online bar exam is shaping up to be a mess, because just a few days ago, the surgeon board exam, something like that, it was canceled like halfway through the exam because of a website, because everything crashed. So the bar exams across the United States are going to be held, the online ones are going to be held in October, and only 3 software companies are going to be involved in them. And most of them are small, and the one that Texas is using is based in Turkey, and they've never had anything like this before. And we all have to have reliable Wi-Fi, which even if you have high-speed internet, your Wi-Fi could go out at any given moment. Just this week, my Wi-Fi went out for like 4 hours in the morning. It was great, especially when I'm doing Themis and everything is online. It's great. But yeah, it's mind-boggling that they think that nothing is ever gonna happen to this exam, when we have seen time and time again that online exams just will not work. The AP exams had huge issues. The surgeon's exam had an issue. MCATs failed. And it's just absolutely mind-boggling that they're being so blind to the issue at hand, all in order to make sure that they can give this exam and gatekeep the profession, which, like, they're trying to keep out the bad lawyers, but they're not, because bad lawyers somehow still pass the bar exam and still get sanctioned. And you can see who gets sanctioned in your bar stuff. Like, bad lawyers pass the bar exam every day, because the thing is, what really tests if a lawyer is good enough to be a lawyer is the MPRE, because that's the rules that the lawyers have to follow. Like, nothing in law school was closed book. There were very few things that were strictly closed book. Nothing in law school, like, the law profession is open book, and you can ask for help anytime you want. So requiring us to take an exam where we can't do that doesn't test our competency at all, especially since after the bar exam, most people forget all the information they learn anyways, because they tend to focus on one area of law. And it's just saddening that this is all happening. And, like, I wish that they would actually see what's going on, but it's, from what it seems like, they're not going to. They're going to let us sink, and then they're going to blame us that it all failed. So, yeah, that's all I have on this whole situation. I think I touched on everything. I hope I did. I know there's a lot more. I will do my best to leave the Supreme Court ruling from July 3rd and the hotel plan, the pandemic proof plan, and the link in the description box below. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. I will do my best to answer them or direct you to someone who probably knows more than I do. One thing that you can really do to get this video out is share it and like it. Let the YouTube algorithm pick it up, because this is really important. And like with my last video, I'm gonna call out Legal Eagle. You have a huge channel. You just hit 1 million subscribers. Make a video on this. You talk to law students all the time in your videos, but you have been silent on this matter, and I don't understand why. Yes, you went to a top law school. You passed the top law school. You passed the bar. But we are in a situation in our country which is getting worse by the day. Students' lives are at risk. Bar exams are canceling exams weeks before the exam happens. None of this should be happening to us, because we don't deserve it. Make a video on this, because you are a huge platform. You have a big voice, especially for students who may not know that this is happening, and especially in the legal community. So Legal Eagle, make something out of this. Be a positive influence that you say you are. All right, that's all I got. I think. I really hope I hit on everything. I mean, this is what I get for not having a script. I may have forgotten something, and if I did, I'm really sorry. But that's what's going on in Texas right now. That's what's going on with everything right now. So if you have any questions, like I said, leave them below. I will try to answer them. I hope you all have, if you liked the video, you can like it too. And if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. This was supposed to be a cold call story video, because I have quite a few of those, but the bar exam is a sinking ship. So yeah, that's all I got for you. Oh, before I say goodbye, I did want to say that in the very first BLE meeting that we saw early in July, there was a Martian quote, and I love that they did this, because they're just creating stuff to use as ammo against them. Because this Martian quote, like, everything they're doing right now is like when the dude is making the potato farm, and he's like, yeah, look what I did. I made potatoes on Mars, right? But then the potatoes all explode. I'm waiting for that to happen, because it's bound to. At this point, it's bound to. And yeah, so I just really wanted to add that in because I like using their analogies and their quotes and their words against them because they don't like it, which is ironic since they're all lawyers. They should be used to that. So yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, week, month, year, whenever you're watching this, and I will see y'all later. Bye!